evening, everyone.
Good evening, everyone. We're so happy that you're here with us. It is TownSquare Talk Tuesday.
Yes, it's that time of the week, and we're excited, so very excited to really talk about our most important intimate relationship in our lives. So, Pat, you look lovely this evening. I love the hair and
thank you, my dear.
the outfit.
We are just trying different things, aren't we?
We're just in that playful mood.
We're in a playful mood. Pearl's wearing her pink, and we are just, Pearl and I have known each other for so many years that we feel so comfortable with each other, and
right.
We want you to feel comfortable with us. So we are just being us and enjoying this time together with all of you. And I just want to share that we're on episode, 6 now?
Mm-hmm. Actually, yes, 5, actually.
Is it 5? Okay, episode 5. Time flies. And really this idea came from a conversation that Pearl and I had almost a month and a half ago. And we were talking about the impact of COVID-19 on our lives, our families' lives, our friends, and began to see some trends and some common threads with the people that we know. And we said, well, we're either going to sit back and lean back and just not do anything about it, or we're going to lean forward and start bringing subject matter experts to the table on issues coming up because of COVID-19 and what we now are creating a new what we are now known as what is now known as a new normal in different aspects of our life, from career, from relationships, working at home, etc. And so our focus is on the issues, what we're seeing out within the communities of concern because of COVID-19. And one of the changes that we're seeing is in relationships.
Yeah, and we did quite a few sessions previously in the past 5 weeks. The last week we just did work from home, right? Because everybody is basically doing so much more. And the very first session that we did, the breathing exercises, and a couple other examples, is really about how you care for yourself, for your wellness. And relationships, guess what, manifests in our wellness. Yes, so we're so delighted and happy to have our good friend, Ms. Genie Goodwin, join us to talk about that. Now, before we bring her on, I'd like to introduce Pat, who's been a great entrepreneur. As Pat mentioned, she and I have been friends for 5 years now. Mm-hmm. And we actually found out that we were IBM colleagues. So that's why we've been masterminding for the past 3 years.
Mm-hmm. At least.
And lovely idea Pat came up with TownSquare Talk. And Pat's been doing a lot of coaching with entrepreneurial women and professional women, providing workshops and retreats, as well as guidance.
Absolutely. So I work with women entrepreneurs who are in the real estate and IT industry who want an easy way to scale their business and scale a business that aligns with who they are and where it brings ease and grace into their day. And yes, Pearl is making an impact also in the area of corporate. And you need to show off what you do.
Oh, geez. I work with visionary and authentic CEO, C-suites, as well as professionals and business owners in their personal awakening, who are seeking to advance and up their game, if you will, in sometimes maybe new or even unconventional, innovative ways. Yes. So you can find out more about me on benchmarkmaven.com. Now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Ms. Genie Goodwin. She has been dubbed the Relationship Genie by her clients. And the reason being that she's just so very good at providing advice to couples. And I wanted to make sure that I am not sharing my screen so that we can, oh, good. I think I'm good, right?
You're good to go. Absolutely.
All right. So technicality is always important. So now Genie has been in the field for quite some time, and she has provided a lot of help and a really great book that she wrote, Win Her and Influence Him. So I am dying to bring Genie out to see if she's showing her pretty. Yay! There you are, Genie. I'm here. So Genie has helped a lot of people with not only their relationships, as well as their corporate performance, work, career, and so on. So here we are, Genie.
Yay, I'm here. I'm so happy to be here with you ladies today.
We are so delighted to have you. I actually wanted to call this kind of like a masterminding session, right, with you, because we have so much more experiences when it comes to relationship.
For sure.
Sometimes life just didn't pan out the way we wanted them to be.
Since when does life pan out the way you want it to? Whose life does that happen in?
Exactly. Really, nobody's, right?
Nobody's. That doesn't work that way.
Yeah, we have perfectly imperfect lives.
It's
and
also
relationships.
Have plans. Don't get us wrong, right? We definitely want to have good plans, so we get a chance to kind of check back on what we want to accomplish in life, and whether it's really our own goals or somehow imposed on us.
Oh, beautiful.
It's always right good to have those plans, so that you can kind of just do that tweaking or what you want to make changes, so on. And for Miss Genie, I wanted to see if you could answer this kind of question, especially during this terrible time, right? The pandemic time.
Yeah.
It's this fear and uncertainty, right? I'm not talking about your everyday, typical fear and uncertainty, right? It's really quite some unprecedented. What have you been kind of giving your clients advice on how to really handle that and come out, not only survive, but become stronger and better?
Oh, what a great question. What a great question. I've actually been coaching for over 25 years. I'm a certified high performance coach, a leadership trainer, and a relationship expert, because I've always said that every problem in life is actually a relationship problem.
Yes.
It may be an internal relationship problem. It may be an external relationship problem. It may be an eternal relationship problem, right? But every problem in life is a relationship problem. And as we're looking at what's happening in the world today, holy cow, right? The worldwide COVID-19 pandemic, which has changed everything in life. You can either look through the viewpoint of fear and uncertainty, but give me a break. When was life ever certain, even though you had your normal patterns? When was it ever certain?
Sure.
Or you can look at it through the viewpoint of right now, this is the great reset. This is the most amazing time on the planet, because never before on the planet has the world been able to do a reset and decide what's really essential in my life. What should have been important, but it really wasn't, because of other people's agendas, or because of debt, or because of pressure, or because of, right? Like, where did my goals go? Where did my life go? Where did my presence go? Where did my relationships go? It's this time where, did you know that over 90% of people's lives are spent in habit pattern, meaning it's unconscious. Your life is lived unconscious. Well, when the Great Reset happened, which is continuing to happen, all the old habit patterns are now gone. You can't even rely upon them anymore. And it's the opportunity, if you're going to make it through and make it stronger, as Pearl said, you're going to need to decide what's essential in my life, what needs more attention, what's going to get it that never got attention before. So maybe for you, it's your health. Boy, it should be if it isn't.
Yeah, definitely, right?
Because the stronger your immune system is, the more likely you're not going to get hit by COVID. Or if it hits, it'll have absolutely no effect on your life, right?
Right.
It absolutely should be your relationships, because really, who wants to live alone on purpose, right? We're relationship creatures, and it absolutely should be your finances and getting yourself out of debt and making sure that you're growing and learning. It really is the time of the Great Reset. And if you look at this time right now as that, you will look back and you will be so pleased at the growth that happened in your life right now, because you took control of your life and you stepped up to a higher level that you've never actually experienced before. That's what this actually is. It's time to get present.
It is.
It's time to decide. It's the most amazing time. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's easy
No.
by any stretch of the imagination, but when was growth ever easy?
It's
Right?
not. No, it's not. It's always challenging your beliefs and your ability to make a different decision. And I like what you said. It comes that really this is a time to make a different decision.
So when people are kind of caught up in their fear and afraid of uncertainty, what I hear you say is that you kind of need to turn your focus onto something else, onto whether I am really working on or thinking about what matters to me the most.
Yes, yes.
Am I really get so caught up in this fear? So perhaps, as we mentioned earlier in the call, is like engaging in good exercises and help you shift that mindset to kind of focus on that personal growth and what's truly important in your life.
And always remember what an amazingly powerful creation you are. Amazingly powerful. Whatever you focus on, whatever you think, your brain will release the chemicals in your body to fuel you to go get that done. If you're focused on fear, your brain will unleash chemicals that actually destroy your immune system, destroy your ability to think straight. Everybody's experienced being so afraid that they can't think straight and they can't move, the fight or flight. This is how powerful you are. And it's time to grab your focus and decide, when I look back on this in 6 months, I'm going to experience great joy at the way that I stepped up in my life against the highest odds the world has seen in a very, very long time, right? That's your choice. Or you can live in Netflix for the next 90 days, right? And put on the COVID, but the 15 pounds that you're going to have to get rid of later, right? Again, no one has stolen your choice from you of how you walk through this.
Right.
And it all comes from, where's your focus? Is it on what should have always been essential in your life? Are you moving into it with a plan to implement being the best you can be, high performance coach, right? Or are you filling your brain with the focus of fear and uncertainty, which is on every television commercial, every newscast, the buzzword right now is uncertainty. This is the buzzword, right? But all you got to do is, now, wait a minute. I'm certain in who I am. Let's do this. Let's step up. I can do this. I've gotten through everything else in my life before. I'll get through this too, and I'll come out stronger. Yeah.
That's right. That is right. And it's mindset, right? It is total mindset. So the opposite of fear is love, right? So you live in love and you work through love and with love, as opposed to working through fear. And you have a choice at every moment in time as to how you're going to live your days.
Absolutely. Yeah. So make the choice. Make the choice.
Make the choice. Make the choice. And one of the things that's changing within our relationships is kind of the flow of how things happen in the house. So maybe before COVID-19, there was a clear division of responsibilities. Every spouse knew what they were taking care of. Everyone relied on that rhythm. And COVID-19 kicked in, and all of a sudden, there is that division of responsibility the pendulum has gone the other way. and one spouse is feeling like he or she is carrying the load.
Yeah.
And, you know, a comment that we have heard through our questions is, if I don't do it, it doesn't get done. And so now I'm left doing all the work. And so I know there are some people out there that are feeling that. So, you know, what would you advise those that are feeling, you know, that dramatic change?
Oh, absolutely. Again, all the normal is gone, right? This is the new normal, and there is no normal to your new yet, right? I want you to keep in mind that people deal with stress in very different ways.
Yeah.
We all have different coping mechanisms. Some people self-medicate. They might use food. They might use alcohol. They might use weed. They even might use exercise, right? They self-medicate in different ways. Or they might clean out closets and organize everything in sight in order to feel like they've got control again. So instead of judging your partner and the way that they're using their current coping mechanism to go through the amazing life change, the great reset that we're going through, I always advise that you have what I call an axe conversation, an axe conversation. The reason why I named it an axe conversation is because you want to take an axe to the problem, not the person.
Yes, absolutely.
Separate the person from the problem, figure out what the problem is, and then have a very explicit conversation about the problem, not the person. So no judging the other person, because that won't get you anywhere in a relationship. Right. It'll actually cause massive, massive damage. So the A in ACTS is to appreciate. So start these conversations with appreciation. You know, man, I appreciate what you're going through. We're all going through it, and it's been really tough. I totally get where you're coming from. Appreciate that their intention is good. I know you're on my side. I know you're here to help me. I know that we're partners, and we're going to get through this together. And then the X would be explicitly ask for exactly what you need. You can't go back to, well, he always used to do the laundry before. What's his problem now? Because before is gone, right?
Right.
You're going to have to explicitly ask for exactly what you want. And when you're talking to a man, say a man is your partner, if you're talking to a man, you actually have to make it bullet point. Men speak in a language I call Menglish. They actually speak in a completely different language, and they speak in bullet points. So the more details you put into a conversation with a man, the easier it is to lose him in the process, because he's looking for the point. Haven't you ever had a man say, "What's the point?" He's speaking Menglish. That's what that is. So make sure that it's just bullet points. I need the laundry done by 5 a.m. on Monday morning so that I can get out the door on time, right? And then I would probably add appreciation on the end of that sentence, like, man, it just makes my life so much easier that you take care of this for me. So explicitly ask for what you want. And then you're going to actually create partnership in that X part of the equation. So X is for explicit and partnership. So you're going to say something along the lines of, is there anything you need from me so that you can get that to me, right? You're going to create partnership. Yeah. Are we in agreement that I can count on you for that? Yes. Yeah. And then E in AXE, A-X-E, E is for end the conversation well 100% of the times, regardless of whether or not you got to that partnership agreement place. Always end a conversation well. It's kind of like leaving the door open so that you can come back and fix it later. If you stomp off in anger because you didn't get to the place you wanted to be, right? You actually slam the door so that you can't get there.
Yeah.
Or you got to come back and apologize, and who likes to do that, right?
I love it.
So always end the conversation well. Always say something along the lines of, man, you know, we've gotten through this. We'll get through everything together. I so appreciate having you on my side. I even realize that we didn't get there today. We're not in agreement yet, but still, we will. We'll figure this out together. I'm not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. We're going to make it, right?
That's great.
That's an AXE conversation. And really, it's about asking explicitly for what you want, because so many times, so many problems come into play in relationships because you are assuming they always did it before, or they should know to do that, or I've asked 50,000 times, or I've given 100,000 hints. and none of these actually create amazing relationships. So
Wow.
conversations.
That is amazing. I love that. Axe. A-X-E.
So
Yeah.
that's
Ladies
about
and gentlemen, we'll take
really-
that back with you. Yeah.
It's about really using acts artfully, right?
Yeah, I love it.
Elegantly and wisely.
Yes.
To be very axy.
You got it. And as Pat said, with great love.
Right,
Yeah,
with great
use
love.
that tool with great love. Like,
Absolutely.
I'm on your side. We're going through this together. It's tough on both of us. We're going to figure this out, right?
And-
Always be on the side.
Love
it's
it.
along the lines of, there's a coaching technique called when you're arguing, right? It's called align with and redirect.
Yep.
Nice.
Don't come like this.
Nice.
Nope.
Align with and redirect. And so you
Right.
get that through the appreciation in the beginning of the conversation.
Right. But who will forget acts? I totally
I
will
love
remember
that. I love
Great
that.
acronym to keep that in mind. Love
Mhm.
it. So Jeannie, the thing about it is, you know, we have kids at home now too,
Mhm.
right? Some folks needing to be homeschooled, and a lot of parents are actually quite anxious and iffy about that because that is not what they were trained to do, and this was kind of caught them by surprise.
Mhm.
And one of the viewers submitted a question saying, you know, and we can't agree on how to discipline, how to really get on what curriculum to help the kids. So with that, what's your advice for our viewer in that situation?
You know what? I had the honor of homeschooling my kids for about 3 years. We were actually traveling from through different countries, and it was a period when you couldn't really put them into school. It was different languages and all that. So I know exactly what this is like, and the immense pressure of trying to get your work done and trying to have a relationship and trying to homeschool your kids all at the same time. When it comes to kids and choosing together, whether it's discipline or even homeschooling curriculum or how we're going to get through the day, right? Here's where I always start. I always take 3 steps back, and I start with, what's the legacy you would like to leave with your kids?
Mm.
What's the
That's a
legacy?
good question.
Like at the end of your life, and let's even say you're gone and your kids are now grown, they're thinking mom, oh, mom is this and this and this. It's the legacy you're going to leave with your kids. Because what that does is that gives you a foundation that says, well, if we pick this homeschooling curriculum or that homeschooling curriculum, the legacy is going to get instilled. So the actual choice doesn't matter. It's the foundation of the choice. Does that make sense?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
So when I was raising my kids, I set the legacy. I want them to have immediate obedience with a good heart. And it was this idea of good heart. And so everything that I trained them in, whether it was, you know, mom, can I go to this party? Or mom, you know, I didn't do my homework. Or I would come from this viewpoint of, let's check your heart before we do anything else, because that was the legacy.
Mm.
And then the second piece for me was, I want immediate obedience from God. I want them so connected to their source, their creator, that even if I died early, they're going to be fine. And so they'd come and they'd say, Mom, can I go do this? And I'd say, hey, did you check with God? Like, is that in alignment with who you are?
Wow.
And what is good for your life? And what it did was it gave me this solid foundation so that no matter what came across the desk, right, what decision had to be told, as long as we fulfilled the legacy, we achieved what we were there for with the kids. So again, I would go back up and I would look at legacy first. So the 3 greatest qualities I want to instill in my children. And then I would have a conversation about what curriculum aligns with that.
Oh, that's great.
Got
I love
it?
that.
So now
yeah.
we've gotten really clear on what we're trying to do with our children and on the fact that these are our children. And always remember, in the midst of that, if you can instill the legacy that you're here, whether it's kindness or graciousness or tenaciousness, whatever it happens to be for you, it really won't matter what curriculum comes across the table, right?
Right.
because you'll be teaching your kids what the real thing is that you want to instill in their lives. Does this make sense?
Absolutely. And that's great advice, you know, to be able to take those 3 steps and then think about the legacy. How often do we really think about that when we're going into raising a family and starting a family and say, what is the legacy we want to, and maybe some people have thought about it, but if those who haven't, wow, it's an incredible time to actually think about the legacy. And wow, thank you. That's a great answer. Great answer. And, you know, a lot of us, even though we're all together and we're there with our kids, there are some people that still feel lonely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the hottest question of the hour, right? Even though we're together even more these days, you know, we're stuck in the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And somehow you just kind of feel lonely still.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, in a way, don't even know where it's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And it may not necessarily be the spouse isn't paying attention or what have you, but it may feel that way.
Yeah.
So, you know, this is kind of your specialty there. So I love, you know, like Pat was just starting out with, this is the question of the hour, Pat.
Yeah. What do we do?
Alone together. I'm actually doing an entire series on alone together because, believe it or not, alone together has been happening in all relationships for all time, has nothing to do with COVID-19. And the weirdest part is you can be in the same room, in the same house, locked together and still feel alone.
Mm-hmm.
And what that speaks to is a lack of presence and connection. Now, we can be together in the same room and I can be totally like nothing, lights are on, nobody's home, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that absolutely happens in our relationships, whether we're in a pandemic or not. It happens in all relationships. And usually when couples come to me, they say, oh, we just grew apart. Well, growing apart is a process, right?
Mm-hmm.
So alone together, the answer to alone together is being present with each other.
Wow.
And making time to be one-on-one present with each other, caring about each other. Now, I'll just do a real quick story. My husband and I got locked into our home together, right? And I'm in my office and he's in his, and we're both working really, really hard, right? And by the time we come out of our offices, it's that glazed zombie kind of look, like I got nothing left, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that, growing apart, like we're spending all this time together, but there's no connection. So I started doing some high performance tools because I'm a high performance coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the tools for high performance is you take a break for your brain every 50 minutes. Every 50 minutes, your brain actually needs a break and a reset in order to come back and engage at an even deeper level. The longer you stay with the same focus without giving your brain a break, the worse your productivity levels are. And we've all experienced this, right? So I've got my timer on. I sit down, I put my timer on, I work for 50 minutes, I get up, I slide across the wood floors. That's just my own little trigger for joy. I want to be in joy at all times. Then I go get myself a glass of water. Then I would get my husband a glass of water. I would go over to his office. I would give him a glass of water and I would make sure that I touched him.
Touched him, yeah.
Now, he's in meetings. He's got no time for me. He's got no focus for me, but he got touched.
Mm-hmm.
He got cared for and he got touched every 50 minutes all day long.
Wow.
Honestly, I was just doing
Powerful.
self-care. I was just taking care of me.
Mm-hmm.
But what I did was I built in, I'm going to take care of him too. It's not going to take me any more time.
Right.
And one of the things I want you to understand is men have a need for touch that is 15 times higher than a woman's need.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's called
Wow.
skin hunger, and it has to do with the levels of testosterone men walk in. So they need 15 times more touch than women do. And knowing that, I touched the man every time I got near him. Right?
Wow, that is powerful to know. And just a simple act doesn't
Very
cost you anything, but it goes such a long way. So presence and connection.
You got it. And he feels cared for.
And he feels cared for, you know, and many people that are on this call have been that are listening have probably been married for a long time, and there were simple little things like, oh, look at the way he walks, and oh, look at the way he dresses and how he does, and everything he did was cute, and so
Yeah.
you just fell in love with all the cute things he did. Well, he's doing those same cute things, but
And
now they're oh, my husband uses so much toilet paper. Oh, look at all the crap he's eating. Oh my God, the way he chooses his food. You know, all those things, all of a sudden you didn't notice because you were spent so much time apart, but now you're together and you're now noticing all those
Yeah.
things.
Right.
So how do the spouses handle that, what is now an annoyance?
Yeah, irritation. Huh?
Irritation. Oh my God.
You know what? I've said this for decades. I have said, you are the one in charge of your emotions.
Yeah.
No one else on the planet is in charge of your emotions, and your emotions are getting triggered.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that's happening. Your emotions are getting triggered. Those are your emotions. Those are not his. He's not even noticing the amount of toilet paper. But you're 100% in charge. So
Yeah.
again, I'm going back to what I started this powerful session with, like, choose what's important to you. You know, the thing that high performers are known for, one of their greatest qualities is they know who they are and they know the effect that they want to have on other people.
Yeah.
And they consciously train themselves in, this is who I am, this is how I need to show up. And their focus and their intention is 100% on how they show up as themselves for other people. So using this irritation, absolute irritation, and I want you to know, I certainly got irritated with my husband while we were locked together in the house, right? For months on end, right? It certainly happened to me as well. And being aware of what I'm aware of, I went, oh, all right, that's Genie's challenge with Genie's emotions. That's not his problem. Okay, so how would I like to use this to grow? Yeah. You should write that down. How would I like to use this to grow?
That's another one outside of X.
You got it. It's what I call a power question. Mm-hmm. Because once you give the brain what to think about, it'll go solve that problem. So now, instead of, how can I kill him?
Or change him. Change him, right? We want to change him. I wish you would stop chewing your food that way, right?
Exactly. It becomes my trigger for how I want to show up. So I started using the thing that irritated me the most, right? And every time I saw it, I would step into the quality I wanted to exude the most.
Oh, lovely.
And then I would say something out loud to myself. I would say some kind of trigger phrase like, that's the man I'm here to love. Oh, and what I was doing was I was rewiring my emotional strength, my emotional intelligence, as well as my ability to step up into the highest level of who I want to show up as being. Hey, never waste a problem. Never. Problems are a gift to grow you into the next level.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that comment. That's the man I'm here to love. And I will never forget that one. I will never forget.
And you'll have to use it. I guarantee you'll have to use it no matter how much you love him. I guarantee it, because irritations are going to come along. So why not use them for your betterment, for your good, instead of to destroy yourself and your relationship?
And irritations also happen in the workplace with managers.
Oh. And the truth. Sometimes it will be harder, I would say, when you have to work in the same office, and now that we kind of have some space, still you find those micromanagers that just keep on you, whether it's female manager. This particular question actually was presented to us by a female viewer, and she has a female manager, and somehow it was just become quite unbearable. I guess clearly the COVID-19 has kind of, changed people to a certain way, and then you have performance issues, right? Performance anxiety, what have you, especially when you can't see your employees anymore. So clearly it depends on the type of work and so on, but the person was just saying, I just cannot stand it. I mean, it's just hard to deal with. What would you advise her to do, Genie?
So a female boss who's micromanaging. Got it. I put this in my book. In the last chapter of my book, there's a chapter on male-female dynamics at work. And men and women handle stress completely differently. And it has to do with the chemical balance of our systems. So when a woman is feeling stress, cortisol will go off in her body, right? And that cortisol will make her actually micromanage in order to control. So a woman under stress micromanages, and a sign of micromanagement is she's under stress. That's all I want you to pick up in that little dissertation that I just gave you.
Wow.
Again, if you realize that your boss is under stress, the first question, the first power question I would ask is, what would make the biggest difference for my boss? Not, what would get my boss off my back? Right? Because getting your boss off your back gets you the wrong answer.
Yeah.
What would make the biggest difference for my boss brings the boss's stress level down, makes your value go up in the organization.
Absolutely.
You look like the hero, right?
Yeah.
And it also strengthens your own level of professionalism by simply asking the question, what would bring my boss's stress level down? Now, if you can't figure it out without talking to your boss, go talk to your boss.
Ask the question, right?
Right? I'm here to serve you. I'm here on your team. I got your back, baby. What will help you most?
Exactly.
And just once again, have a very explicit conversation with your boss. No assuming. You know what they always say about assuming.
Right. Gets you in trouble.
We don't want any houses around here, right? Just explicit conversation. Again, when people are under stress, they're not thinking clearly. They're not trying to be nice. They're not being their best selves.
Right.
And so showing up as your best self, thinking through what would serve my boss best, right? Makes you so valuable to the organization.
And it's really a sign of compassion.
Yes.
As well, right?
Yes.
It's having compassion. And we need a lot of compassion right now.
We do.
We need a lot of compassion with ourselves and with others.
Absolutely.
You hear people say all the time, people don't quit their job, they quit their bosses.
They quit their boss.
They quit their bosses.
You know, it goes both ways, really.
It does.
As an employee, as someone who works for a female boss or not, if you are in that situation, clearly you've got to make sure that you are taking the right action as you described to make sure that the communication's, you know, clarified and so on, and you are providing value as well as getting the feedback and input more directly from the boss. And sometimes you need to, you know, work matrix organization, right? You not necessarily report to one boss, and you could, you know, have another boss you also dotted line reported to, perhaps bring in that other person as well. It could be, you know, a sort of idea balancing situation. So there's quite a few situations that sort of solutions that you can definitely play with. When you say,
you got it.
And what I'm also hearing is that, you know, coming back and asking the question, you know, what can I do to relieve the stress, versus feeling like you're being victimized and that it's all about you.
Right.
That's
right.
So,
And just
so
it's
really
just taking it personally.
Right. Really circling back to your personal growth and developmental mindset. Right. That's definitely the first stop to check.
Yes.
Right. You know, are you doing that? You know, is it really you? Or is it your boss? Right. That's the very first thing to do, and making sure that you are providing the value that your boss can count on.
Right. Exactly.
That's a great advice.
I love that. And another question that came in is associated with a boss who always feels they have to be right, even though they're not. What do you do with that?
Okay, all right, you ready? You ready for what to do with that? That was
Give
so
it
great.
to me.
Typically, okay, so I just did a female, so let's make this a male boss, okay? So the man who always has to be right. Why do I have to work with the guy who's always has to be right and he's never wrong, even though he's wrong?
Right.
So men, I've always said this, men are fixers of the universe. Men actually have brains that are wired to come up with fast solutions. The faster the solution, the better it actually is, the more points he gives himself. So this concept of always having to be right very well may be him just trying to fix it fast and get points. Now, you said something really, really valuable. People don't quit their jobs, they quit their bosses. And they quit their bosses because of a lack of appreciation. 100% of the time, well, okay, 98% of the time, they quit their bosses because of a lack of appreciation. Like, they don't appreciate who I am, what I bring to the table. They don't see me, they just run me over, right? Well, it so happens that appreciation is one of the greatest fuels of masculinity. So when a man provides a quick fix and gets immediate appreciation, he will actually get like the dopamine hit in his physical body. He'll feel fulfillment because he provided something that made a real difference. And then he'll back off and he'll be more gracious with you. So the answer with a boss who has to always be right is to appreciate first. Like, wow, that was quick. Man, you came up with that quick. I really appreciate that you figured that out so fast, right? Just start with appreciation. Then let's say that you disagree with, because you said the question was, even though he isn't, right? He's not.
Yeah, exactly.
So start with appreciation and then go, and I'd like to add X, Y, and Z. How do you think we should move forward on that? And what will happen is, once he gets the dopamine hit from the appreciation, he'll back off and he'll start to work more in a team and be willing to move forward with the person on his team. Now, let's say you completely disagree with what the dude said, right? So you start with, wow, okay, I understand where you're coming from. That's an interesting idea. I don't think that's going to work. So again, you start out with appreciation and then you add wherever you're coming from. So you never have to be like a yes man, you know, like a little slave that like, oh, great boss.
Right. Saluting.
No one appreciates that. No one. That doesn't do any good for anybody. But once you can begin to understand how humans are fueled and how brains work, and start to work with them instead of making them wrong for working the way they work, most problems actually just kind of disappear. That's what I wrote that whole book about. It's about the differences between how men think and work and how women think and work, so that you could get the best out of men and the best out of women without driving each other crazy, right?
That's right. Exactly. I love that. That would be such, that book I can see would help so many people.
And it has, thank you. That's a powerful little book. I'm really proud
That's
of
a
that.
powerful little book. Absolutely.
I read your book, Jeannie. That was a masterpiece. I love it.
Oh, thank you.
Really awesome.
Thank you. You know what? I'm all about fixing things and fixing them fast, not staying in pain, not, suffering is optional kind of an idea.
Absolutely.
Even with this pandemic, you do not have to walk through this like you're being dragged through fire. You do not, because these human beings are absolutely the answer to everything that's happening on the planet. Absolutely. If you step up in the best of you and start delivering it instead of letting fear shut you down or take it out on the relationships in your life, right?
Very powerful. You gave us so many amazing tools. The AXE, AXE. I love that's the man I'm here to love, bringing in compassion, just an understanding of how men think versus women and how to understand that and use that to your advantage. This is a powerful session.
Yeah, this was fun.
This is fun. Pearl, do we have any additional questions other than what we discussed out on Facebook?
I just checked real quick. Let me just check again. So far, it seems like we're good. I do have a question that just came to my mind. Since you've been helping people for so long, what will you say is the toughest question? Like, what would be the toughest question? You know, it might not be an easy question to answer, but I would just like, oh my gosh, what would that be?
I suppose the answer to that would be, it would depend upon who I'm talking to, right? But here's the one that I typically get. When people enter coaching with me, whether it's leadership coaching, high performance coaching, or relationship coaching, they always say the same thing. They always say, you know, I got my act together and they are the problem. Genie, can you fix my team? Can you fix my partner? Can you fix my kids, right? Can you fix my boss? My boss is a nightmare. They always say the same thing. They always say, fix the other person. And Pat, you said a little earlier something that was so important. You said the V word, victim. When you make other people the problem, you make you the victim. Because now somebody else has to change to make your life better. And that's a really awful place to be. Because again, I so believe in people. We are so stunning, so amazing, so unique, so powerful. We've got everything we need already, maybe not the training, right? But you've got all the equipment. You got a brain, you got a body, you got a will, right?
And you've got a heart.
And you've got a heart.
Yeah.
And all you've got to do is get the training that would make you bigger than the current problem you're faced with. And that's the gift of problems. The problems are a gift designed to sculpt you to a higher level than what you're showing up now.
I love that.
Right?
Regardless of the situation.
You got it. So never waste a problem. When a problem comes your way, go, all right, where do I need to grow? What skill set do I need to overcome this? How can I show more compassion or grace?
Yes.
How can I use this to show the best of me in this situation? Now, all of a sudden, it's not about a horrible boss. It's not about a guy whose chewing drives you nuts. It's not about homeschooling kids. It's not about a pandemic. It's about how can I step up to the next level in my life, and what's the one thing I need right now to grow to the next level so I can achieve all of my dreams and make the difference only I can make on this planet, because we're all so unique. We all bring such amazing gift that no one else can replace. And I want to make sure that you get to give your gift by showing up as your best self.
Well, now speaking about gifts, you have a gift for all the listeners.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So you can get a copy of my book as my gift to you, a paperback copy of my best-selling book, How to Win Her and Influence Him. Just go to my website, myrelationshipgenie.com/free book. And you'll see an offer there. Not only will you be able to get the book, but I've arranged some bonus offers for you as well, all as my gift. When you get the book, you're going to need to put your name and address in there so I can send it to you, and I'll make sure it's clean. It's not going to bring COVID with it. Okay, no problems. But it will ask you to pay for your own shipping and handling. I bought 1,000 books so that I could give away and make a real difference on this planet, but you get to cover your own shipping and handling, okay? I don't need to lose my shirt trying to give people a gift. But honestly, this book, I have had people call me and say, Genie, my husband asked for a divorce on Thursday, somebody told me to go read this book. Look, it's like 13 chapters. It's not even that long. And it reads like talking to me. She said, somebody told me to get your book. I read it on Friday, and my son came into the kitchen and he said, Mom, what's going on? You're different. And I read it again on Saturday. And then by Monday, my husband said, I changed my mind. I don't want a divorce. All from this little book, because it's filled with the tools and the strategies, the words and the touches, just like I shared today, that actually work, and they work quickly, and there's no judgment, and the best of you shows up. And oh my God, this little book, I'm out to change the world with this little book. So that's why I bought 1,000 copies to give away. And if you want your copy, go to my website, myrelationshipgenie.com/free book. You can get your copy of my book.
Lovely. Thank you for being so generous.
Absolutely. I'm out to change the world, girls, just like you.
Awesome. That is awesome.
And ladies, if you wish to contact Genie directly, here's how to contact Genie.
Yeah, go to my website. There's my email address, Genie@myrelationshipgenie. You can actually see my name is actually spelled like Genie, like magic kind of Genie. And that is what I was named. That's my given name.
You love it. You gotta love it.
Yeah, there's a link on there so that you can apply for a 1-hour strategy session with me. I will be gifting 5 of those. So you're going to have to apply for those. And if you're the first one to get in there and apply for it and you make it to my schedule, what you'll get is an email from me going, okay, here's a link to my schedule. I'll be giving away 5 hours to help people with a 1-hour complimentary strategy session. That's a high performance session. And even if you don't get an hour with me, because I can only give away 5, right? Go ahead and fill out that assessment, because that assessment to get a strategy session with me will turn your life around. It'll get you clear. It'll get you focused. You'll get moving forward. You'll know where you want to put a little more focus. You'll know where you want to actually change your victim mindset and move. It's just powerful. It's just
lovely. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much. Well, we are getting close to the top of the hour. We want to thank Genie for all the tools that she shared with us. You know, walking around, we were going to walk away with a bag full of tools to make our relationships better. And we thank you for your time and energy. Next time, our session will be Music to My Ears, the power of music therapy with my friend, Johnny Proby. So please join us for next Tuesday. And we love to end on a quote. And Pearl, I think you got one for us.
Wow, the quote for the night, huh?
The quote for the night.
Well, sometimes 2 people really have to fall out of the relationship to be able to fall back in. It is really an anonymous quote, but I found that is so true. And let's see Miss Genie one more time. And wouldn't you so agree? Sometimes you just need to step away from each other and give that space and time. And you never know, you can just come back. Timing is everything.
That's beautiful. Well, you know, it makes me think of when you're on an airplane and they say, put your mask on you before you put it on the other person.
Yes.
Sometimes you really need to go inward and find out who you really are, what's really important to you. Are you giving your best self? Are you present for the other person in the relationship? Or are you focused only on problems and, you know, irritated at his chewing, right? Where's your focus? Sometimes you've really got to take some time for yourself to figure out, you know, am I flowing love into this relationship or am I spewing something else, right?
Exactly.
So the idea of getting apart so that you can get focused and honestly get some tools. I mean, the stuff I shared with you today, I told you I've been doing this for over 25 years. That means that's a lot of study. That's a lot of personal development. That's a lot of wisdom and tools that it requires so that you can step up as your best self. So taking time absolutely to make sure that you can show up as your best self. Otherwise,
it's key.
Gosh, you hand somebody a mess and expect them to fix it for you, right? There's a recipe for disaster. right? I'm a mess. Come fix me. Come make me feel better. That's not going to work, right?
Yep, absolutely. So viewers, the help is there. Ms. Genie Goodwin. Thank you once again, Genie, for joining us. And viewers, we'll see you on Tuesday with Ms.
Me, Johnny Preba, music to my ears.
Music to your ears.
The
Awesome.
power of music.
Until then, take care.
Ciao.
Well, stay safe.
Do a reset. Go do a reset.
Yay!